Feel like he used his quickness a little late there. I'm not too sure. I might have got it on time, but we did see Frostball and Denshi going down. We're actually seeing Vermilion taking this game to Orange Logo at the moment.
Denshi might not be so lucky as he's over at the keep. He has been dropped down and there's nobody here to save him because Baines has gone down as well. And this is going to be Vermilion with the advantage here, taking away the keep. They've still got their henge.
Mordred comes in for the support there as well to make sure they can easily flip in and out of the point. Rotating off node. Good pressure is applied to Demon Lord. And actually, Red Team do survive this in the end and get the down state of Demon Lord here. He drops very low. No possible risk comes out. So there's so much cleave in terms of Condi. Scovo goes down and Honey comes in for a last-ditch effort. Dark has gone into down state. They're going to get the kills and that's going to give them the catch-up. No, they get the res. Oh, this is so close at the moment.
5 points.
They might win this just on the button.
This is insane.
This is a timer thing. This is a point-ticking thing. And Blue Team are going to come. No,
it's
a Red Team game.
It's a 1-point victory.
It's a Red Team game. They don't want to lose
They've
the river.
committed
No.
so hard to this.
This feels like they shouldn't have committed to this fight actually over there in the moment because they've lost Zan.
Dura as well now is going to be focused down, and actually this is starting to go in favor of rank 55. Helseth into downstate as well, and the keep looks like it might just be won in favor of rank 55 Dragons.
Look at the low HP here as well of Cars as he drops, and this is point advantage to rank 55 as they go for the decap over on mid, and we're looking for an extension of their lead. Lord Asura, he's been really carrying some of these team support fights. Unfortunately here, Texby's going to be dropped. He doesn't rally Karzes though because he dropped just before he did. And now we are going to see potentially 2 down. Oh my god, Frey and Karzes down, and Dresset and Helseth. Oh my god, absolute
This
pain.
is going to be the wipe.
Oh no, there you go.
It
That's
doesn't
it.
matter. It's too
not
late.
enough.
It's way too late. 502
Whoa.
points to rank 55 Dragons.
Sam and also with Can Scout, in the end, they win it out. And this is what I'm talking about, you know. Blue Team were able to come back into the map, but they've just, on respawn, they've just overpowered mine. And now they can go to mid and overpower that.
Really coming down to Tarsus, honestly, doing such a good job maintaining this bottom buff control. And look at the damage onto QQ, already getting so low.
Quilja knocking down Aerodynamic, almost gets the stillness buff just before Hypno gets the auto attack onto him. Really good play from Quilja because now both teams have the 2-cap. Really good job for the Absurd there as Zeus is now taken out of the fight. Oh, so is Java, and things just not working out here for Team PZ at the midpoint as we are going to see more than likely a 3-man wipe as K-Pud will not be able to survive for much longer.
Wakey was eliminated over at the midpoint. Zeus going to be going for that stomp. Toker might actually try with Panoram there. They have so many people here, and he's going to pull. Oh, the play from Zeus! Get your shovels out, boy!
Zeus, what a play. Get some help here from K-Pud. Oh my goodness.
Is eliminated. Nos in the downstate, and we're seeing Chafe getting pressure. They take out 3 members of the Absurd, and they're still up by 70 points.
We see K-Pud actually going for Chieftain. Nobody in the area. Toker on the other side of the map. Look for a decap from mine. Very good rotation from Marvin. There is 25 points. They are so close to victory. All they need to do is hold on to this 2-cap. We might see K-Pud actually go for the Swan here as well. The Absurder lost here. They don't know what to do, and we might see a game number 3. I don't think Muffins is going to kill Nos anytime soon or win the midpoint anytime soon. They got to get something going somewhere early on here. Otherwise, I mean, we're almost 5 minutes into this game and PZ is really starting to fall behind. This is a 5-point game right now. Still got the Tranquil or Stillness up. Mime trying to get it for himself. He should be able to, and Mime going to pick up that cap. And now they will start to take a lead. Even so, Cade wins the 1v1 against SubQT. Things are falling apart.
Sunfish getting extremely low, though, and he's going to get almost put into downstate. And they're getting Zeromus low here. He's about to go down. They need the kill right here, though. Cade going to go for the vault damage. They still have him in downstate.
The decap at the midpoint, though. The decap at mid happens. In final form, come up with the victory.
Oh, they killed him just a second too late.
Feels like ever so slightly. Final form is making their way back into it, but it's not enough to do anything big. Oh, the portal attempt from SubQT gets himself killed as well as Ozzy took so much damage there from Cade. And Cade is making plays everywhere. Finally, Bear taken down the first time really low. He has no cooldowns left virtually whatsoever. Edmonton gonna spike him down, going in for the stomp. Will it be enough? It looks like he almost gets it, but Phoenix is in the area trying to go in for the rest. Isn't enough from Cade and in Edmonton. It looks like it is, and Phoenix is forced out of this one. And the stomp coming out there from Kane and what looked like a 2v2 going in favor of Bear and Phoenix ends up going for Edmonton and Cade.
Hello everyone and welcome to the On Point show with myself and Mr. Heurix as well from the NA. As I am obviously the EU caster, but Heurix casting from the NA. How are you doing, sir? You good?
Man, good as always, of course. I mean, this week we had a lot of actually really pretty cool stuff, honestly. I mean, PvP leagues, the Challenger League, of course, and last week's games were intense, man. Like, across the board, NA and EU were insane.
Yeah, we had some great matchups, and that's why we put the highlights first, right? Because just to highlight the fact that is indeed what the case was, because we had qualifiers just coming into Pro League versus the pre-qualifier teams as well, of course, and that was really, really awesome cup and awesome league. Still can't get used to saying that, man. Like we're casting an entire pro league now where there's a lot of money on the line as well.
Man. We've moved on. We've moved up.
I can't. Maybe I can't move on. Maybe I just can't believe it. But it is very, very awesome, and we did have some indeed great results. So we will go over and have a look very quickly over the EU results. Just to mention as well, we have a couple of guests on today, so we're not going to talk too much about everything that went on. We're just going to give you a brief rundown as well as talking about maybe some key matchups and key different things that happened. And you can see that on the EU results page. That's not the qualifier results. Unfortunately, I've managed to edit the wrong the wrong actual file, so ignore qualifier results there. This is the results for week 2 of the Pro League. So if you can see at the top, it is going to be, we saw the orange logo be defeated by Vermilion 2-0, not 2-1, 2-0.
Yeah, man, that's actually insane, because I mean, I think everybody expected Vermilion to be a good team, of course, I mean, obviously, but to go against a team like Orange Logo and then take it 2-0, I mean, granted, Page not being around or anything and stuff like that, and then having to pick up Banes and stuff, of course it's not going to be the same Orange Logo, but still, that's a very strong team nonetheless, and taking it 2-0 is a very, very big deal.
It is for Vermilion, they've been scrimming, but these guys scrimmed. I mentioned this at the beginning of the Pro League cast itself as well, and basically, that was. They've been scrimming each other for a long time before the last WTS, and so they knew quite a lot about each other as players. Obviously, Frey's not playing anymore for Orange Logo. He's gone to TCG, of course, and Vermilion have still been very solid together as a team, and they've only improved, and that got proved to us even more on this Pro League this second week. Of course, it was really, really great matches, and like you said, there is a difference because Tage obviously was playing. He was playing Condi Rev, of course, and Baines was playing a Mesmer. So there's a big difference. And then Frosty went over towards that Shatter Mesmer as well at different points in time. So it was a very interesting... It was a different kind of comp. Like, we didn't see 2 bunker support Mesmers like we kind of saw in NA recently as well, with the 2 bunker Mesmer team combination with the 2 Druids as well, as I remember. I can't remember exactly which team was that.
You're talking about Final Form, but they actually never... went full bunker.
They never went full
with the Mesmers yet. They've been doing Marauder Amulet with the Druids being on Sentinels.
That's right.
It has been happening, and actually I want to mention it kind of later, that what has been happening in NA has slightly changed over the past week, but we'll talk about that later.
It's pretty good stuff. And then we saw... And this was a really, really fun series as well. And 2-0 doesn't actually give it enough justice, because you saw in the highlights there, Purple Noise versus More Guns N' Roses, there was a very, very close game on the second map. Literally, it was 501 to 500, and it was ridiculous how it ticks over. Just one kill could have won the game for Purple Noise, and we could have gone to a third game in that series. Actually, it was really nice because Purple Noise's performance in the first game compared to the second was exponentially improved. Like, their map rotations and their fighting and their matchups were actually a hell of a lot better compared to their first game. I feel like that rotation that we saw, adding Temple on the second week, really... It kind of confused teams, right? I mean, we saw some different stuff coming in and maybe some potential upsets in some of these maps, whereas if the rotations had been different, maybe we would have seen an Orange Logo 2-0 versus Vermilion, for example, on the EU. But I feel like these matchups and the different map rotations are giving these other teams quite a good opportunity to come in, actually. It's actually really good.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting where Purple Noise is at right now. I mean, they're sitting kind of tied right now in last place with Chaotic Contingency, and they don't actually meet each other until week 5. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting because, of course, you have, in week 5 at least, which is obviously a long ways away, but just looking down the line, I mean, seeing where teams are going to be kind of falling into place, you have, I mean, like Rank 55 in that same week playing Orange Logo, and that's another big match. So I mean, there's still a lot of like really cool matches to see these players and these teams develop, where Orange Logo now has to come back from that loss against Vermilion and take another team that's going to be very, very strong, Rank 55, that they have to go up against. So despite these losses, despite these victories, like these teams have a lot of time still and a lot of opportunities to still come back, and we'll see that on the leaderboard. I mean, how quickly it can kind of things change.
Completely. One thing about this week as well is they've got the time to come back, but this was one of the biggest matches. This was one of the biggest weeks for Pro League in EU and in NA. The unbelievable results where this week could have actually already determined something which is going to happen later on in the season, you know, where TCG, like you say, and Orange Logo, now they've got a defeat, you know, and they've already got to make up that defeat elsewhere. If they got that Orange Logo versus TCG game series is going to be one of the best ones, going to be one of the highlighted matches ups of the season for sure, because, you know, that's going to determine quite a lot of stuff. Even Vermilion, you know, versus TCG and whatnot as well. So this is all going to be very interesting. Moving on, because we want to get round to NA and talking to the guys as well. Rank 55 Dragons, you know, another one versus TCG, 2-1 as well. Absolutely amazing. This was our featured matchup as well, and there's a good reason for this because of this result that happened. I mean, it was just amazing. We saw Mancow coming in for the guys as well on 55.
I just want to say, man, Mancow is an utter beast. And I don't mean to say utter as in like, I don't mean to make a pun out of that, first of all, because Mancow, but I mean it, like, he is actually just a monster on that Condi rev.
Absolutely. Boss. Yeah, agreed. He was winning his 1v1s, he was winning... I think he nearly won every single 1v1, and versus Karzez as well. He had quite a few good matchups where he won out, where I've been saying, like, Karzez is probably one of the best Condi revs, but, you know, I think it's him and Mancow up there at the top now at the moment, with maybe Denshi as well, and, like, it was all awesome. Unfortunately, I couldn't focus on it so much. I almost wanted to jump to those 1v1s and just be, like, commentate on those, because literally... it was just amazing, like watching back through the replays and seeing how many times he was actually able to win different 1v1s was really, really nice, and helped his team to get where they needed to get to, especially where he could go into team fights or he could rotate out around the rest of the map as well. It was really great to see. And again, you know, those highlights, and we're going to talk to Levin in a bit as well about this, really, you know, brought that home. And I can't wait to see these guys play more in the Pro League. And if you guys missed it, then I'm sorry, but you got to go and check the highlights out on YouTube. It's on the Guild Wars C YouTube channel. It was something to watch, and you missed out. And
honestly,
that's for sure.
Honestly, I think the part that I remember the most is actually on Legacy, and I'm pretty sure it was a highlight where it was at mid on Graveyard, and this was something that happened actually last week on the side of NA, where there was a huge wipe on mid, and everything fell apart, momentum shifted to the other team, a 3-cap happened, and the other team wound up getting like a huge push of momentum. They wound up getting a lot of map control, and obviously that went forward and actually led to them winning the game. But an interesting point that I want to bring up, and this might actually be a little salty, but an interesting point I want to bring up, I'm not salty, but
people might
get salty about it.
Well, they're allowed to do what they want. We can't control people.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yet, anyway.
So something happened where Helseth, a member of TCG, obviously, that made mention of how this sort of thing only happens in North America, where you know, it wouldn't even happen in an EU hot join, not even a pug or anything like that. This would never happen, where a team loses 45 and a 3-cap happens on Legacy. There's always something that can happen. But this week, it happened to his team. 4-man wipe on mid, and everything just shifted. They lost map control, and then got 3-capped and lost. I'm just saying, it happened. Just saying.
It was definitely, I mean, I remember interviewing Levin as well, straight afterwards. And I will turn my volume down a bit, guys. Sorry if I'm a bit too loud there. My mic's decided to have some fun. The chat is just great. This is gold. Someone screen cap this. Anyway, I can't remember my point just because it was so funny what you just said. It was just brilliant. It was good. Well done, Heurix. You can do that again next week. That's fine. But it was a good one. But basically, Levin wasn't even sure how it happened as well. I remember interviewing him afterwards, and he was pretty shocked. He was like, I'm not actually sure how this happened, because I've watched that highlight again and again and again, and Texby goes down first, and he was playing on rank 55 Dragons. Another thing which I haven't actually mentioned, the fact that Levin, were playing on TCG before, and Zan, who were playing on that team versus TCG, not only did they upset them, but they beat their own old boss as well, you know. Add that into the mix. That's quite strong, right? But there was a lot of Condi pressure coming out. We actually saw Helseth, he had to distance himself away from that fight because he was going to go down, and he did in the end as well. And it was a really big play. Like, that literally changed the whole game, because they were losing at that point, actually. And they were having difficulties because they actually got locked really hardcore into the waterfall node, and they didn't move out. This is 55. And then they managed to, in the end, they managed to grab the quarry, move over to mid, and that wipe happened, and that changed everything. But good stuff. We're going to hear from Levin again in a bit. Final game, final series was between Car Crash and Chaotic Contingency. Maybe even a surprise there for the Car Crash guys to come out on top. Chaotic Contingency seemingly having a few issues in the Pro League at the moment, just in terms of their communication and whatnot. But I feel like we're going to see more from Chaotic Contingency. I feel like they're going to come back into the league quite strong. But Car Crash, you know, man, these guys are surprising us every single week. They're big underdogs in this tournament, but they're doing pretty bloody well, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is a team, Car Crash, that is right now at the top of PvP League. I mean, they're somehow managing to stay on top of everyone in EU. They're doing quite well for themselves, but I mean, yeah, Chaotic Contingency has been pretty good, at least through the qualifier. But I mean, we have to remember that this is a team that now is 0-2, and despite how good we think they might be, they have yet to show that to everyone, you know?
We'll have to wait and see. But we're going to nip over to the NA results and have a look what happened over there. Again, the qualifier, I've just altered the wrong PSD file. Apologies about that. I'm working on this. I'm still new to this whole podcast thing. It's okay. Just ignore that. It's week 2 results. Zero counterplay versus Apex Prime. How did that go?
So, basically, Zero Counterplay, this is the first time that we've been able to actually see them, as last week they had an ineligible roster. So,
indeed.
This was the first time that they actually got to play in the Pro League. So we kind of witnessed their, I guess, lack of experience, I would say, is a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
This is a team, again, that has not played yet in the Pro League. They haven't really done a whole lot of scrimming against the top teams. They haven't really been together that long. They kind of put this team together right before the qualifiers. So, of course, there's going to be some rockiness at the start of their road, and that's kind of what we witnessed, although they were still able to score almost 300 points in their first game, and then getting near 400 points in their second game against Apex Prime, who's now sitting and tied for first place with teams like Absurd, Spooky at 2-0. So, I mean, despite the fact that they lost, despite the fact that they haven't really kind of found their stride, they're still slowly finding ways to adapt, slowly kind of picking up the pace, and things are looking a lot better for them now. But I mean, like, it's one of those situations where you have to wait to see what they're going to do going into next week, when they're going to be going up against a team, Easy Peasy, who's now sitting at 1-1. It gives them a better chance to kind of pick things back up. But at the moment, Zero Counterplay not really looking that good, to be honest.
Pardon me, sorry. I think you could make a good point. Sorry, I wasn't saying that. I wasn't agreeing or anything. But I think you're right. You know, to a degree, they're kind of disadvantaged not playing that first week, which is, you know, obviously an issue against the Absurd. We pretty much know what the result would have been. But, you know, still getting that amount of points versus Apex Prime, you know, top of the standing. So I think you're right to a degree. It's still nice that they got that amount of pointage, and maybe they can come towards the middle of the table. We'll have to wait and see. So Team PZ versus the Absurd, really. Was this as much, because I've watched this game a lot. We were talking about this today. We've got Zeus on today as well, so needed to pay extra attention to that. In terms of how surprised were you that it was going to be kind of a 2-1, really, more than anything?
Honestly, it was one of those situations where it was either going to be insanely competitive or just not, and I was kind of siding with the fact that it would have been actually quite competitive, at least at first. I thought that it would have done a lot better in the first map, Temple, and the reason being is because they actually switched Marvin over to a tank Mesmer build where you have the evasion wells, and we saw that actually in EU, especially with Helsa's team. They made very good use of the evasion wells and getting the caps with stillness and tranquility and stuff like that, and using those to their advantage. But I mean, honestly, they didn't really do so hot on that map, actually, which is the one, in my opinion, they should have taken. They actually wound up losing that one 500 to 300, and I mean, that was PZ's big shot, at least in my opinion. So, I mean, fast forward, you see them going into the next map, which would be Forest, and in my opinion, this is the map that people just don't take. We've seen, I mean, like, in the past, Absurd being described as, like, the kings of Legacy of the Foe Fire and stuff, but honestly, they've probably dropped. I mean, the only times they've ever dropped a map in NA, to an NA team, has been to the Legacy on Legacy of the Foe Fire, and it's been to range. So I suspected if, I mean, PZ could even take game 1, they would probably lose game 2, and then they would have a chance on game 3 because they moved Zeus over to Dragon Hunter, which is a range assassin, a skirmisher. So I thought they had a shot that way, but it wound up being the complete opposite, and PZ took it 500 to 390. And that was after a 100-point lead at the very beginning for the Absurd, where they had like 170 to 70, had a huge lead, but PZ managed to use Marvin and Zeus really well, spread out Absurd, take the skirmishes. They do PZ does really, really well in skirmishes, especially using Marvin effectively, getting the portals and stuff like that. That's actually what really happened for them. That actually really benefited them. They got a huge 3K on Hinge, 2 to 3 boss kills in that one, and then Zeus with the play, man. Zeus with that play, though. Zeus with the play, man. He came in on Dragon Hunter. This is the first time I've actually ever seen him on a Guardian, and he had a play that we saw actually in the highlights, and I definitely recommend you guys to check out Gillers 2 Esports highlights. That guy has been doing so much good work for us, and he has this play on there on his YouTube, I think, for you guys to check out. You saw it just before we actually started, and the play, man, pulled him, had a trap come up, got the initial damage, pulled him through the trap with the F1, and then pushed him out with the true shot, traded knockback, through the trap again, and it was insane after the port back that Toker did on himself.
And it was under pressure.
He had 2 kills. He had 2 kills by himself on top of Keep. It was insane.
Well, I mean, he was, and everyone was also on the side, and he was completely on his own, like a very, very, it could be very squishy at that point in time as well. Versus he had Phantom on him as well, and on that midpoint, and so it was like, and then the rest of the team started to come back in, and it was like, yeah, Zeus, why are you guys here? I just cleaned up myself anyway, so it's fine. And, like you say, one of those big pinnacle moments that can really change the game in Guild Wars 2 PvP, even if you're down, happened in both, the EU and NA today, last week. And really, what could have been potentially maybe an upset for the Abjured, but only one game, unfortunately, in the end, they weren't able to take that because on Foe Fire, it was 500 to 99, I think. Team PZ got something like that.
Yeah, it was 599 exactly. They one point away from breaking that 100. So if this was shooting for pips, they got 0, man. They got 0. So it's unfortunate for them to end it on that because honestly, I actually remember doing the cast and I was thinking, they actually have a shot here. Legacy of the Foe Fire, like remembering, I mean, they have a shot. Like Absurd has been known to be faulty against that ranged assassin and kind of taking those skirmishes. If they get spread thin, it becomes a big problem for them. But they actually managed very well. Absurd came back and did exactly what Absurd does on Legacy of the Foe Fire. They got the momentum early in their favor, and they just controlled the rest of the game. They just had full map control and just did everything they needed to do.
We can talk to Zeus about this in a bit, and he can definitely give us some more information about how he felt about that. But we're going to roll on with match 3, which was Final Form versus Spooky. It's not bad for Final Form to pick up what were your expectations in this? Because I felt like these guys were particularly quite even, right?
Yeah, so Final Form versus Spooky was a match that Spooky was actually kind of afraid of at first.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because Cade is their 5th guy right now, and he's playing Thief, which largely is somewhat of a worry, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
and the reason is because there's a lot of reasons, or there's a lot of ways to kind of try to counter a Thief. And with a lot of teams playing 3-point, there's not a lot of availability for a Thief to actually get in those decaps and come around and really do what a Thief does best, and that's map control. So it was kind of a worry, but Cade came through, man. I can remember especially on Temple, he got a 1v1 with SupCutie, beat SupCutie 1v1 on the chrono. Zeromus came in during that 1v1, and then Cade finished SupCutie and then also killed Zeromus in the same like span of one fight, and held that point on Altar. And I mean, Cade was out of his mind that series, just playing lights out throughout the entire way. Moving on to Legacy of the Foe Fire, they actually had several times where they could have actually won, and in my opinion, I think Spooky threw it a little bit. At 380 points, we actually saw I believe it was, who was a Happy Kid, actually. Happy Kid at 380 decided to go for Beast. I think he thought it was 480, and he was like, oh, I'll just go for the Beast kill or whatever, or something like that. And he got the Beast, and it wound up losing them the fight, I believe, on Mine. And then at the very end, it came down to a kill or a tick, and instead of trying to go for the Lightning Whips, Schnicky went for the stomp on a downstate, and they didn't get the kill quick enough and lost the game. But then they went on to win it in Legacy pretty handedly, honestly. So, I mean, Spooky now is, in my opinion, one of the teams that can definitely contest for that second place right now. And of course, going into the next week, they have another hard match against PZ, and then Final Four will move on to the Absurd. So both of these teams actually have really hard matchups going into the next week. So despite Spooky's victory, Final Form, Spooky now has something still to worry about in the form of PZ, which is, regardless of the fact that they're 0-2, still a team that people need to worry about. It's still a team that people need to think about moving forward, because this is a team that has taken a map now off of Apex Prime and also off of the Absurd, and they in my opinion have proved themselves at least a little bit. So I mean, there's still some worry for them. And then match 4, Easy Peasy did pretty well against Never Lucky. Never Lucky, unfortunately, wasn't able to have their main roster and their main comp.
Dude, they need to change their name.
Issue.
They need to change their name. Because this
Easy Peasy.
No, Never Lucky. They just need to change their name.
Oh yeah, it's actually making them Never Lucky. It literally is doing that. So yeah, they had, again, roster issues, unfortunately for them, and they're really feeling the brunt of it at this point, because now they're sitting at 0-2, sitting in last place, tied with 0 Counterplay, a team that is yet to kind of come through and prove anything, and PZ, a team that, in my opinion, doesn't deserve the 0-2, but because of scheduling, that's just how it's worked out so far.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
so Easy Peasy taking that one, and now sitting at 1-1, tied for 4th with Final Form.
I mean, at the moment, we can have a quick look at the EU and NA standings, and maybe you could see at the moment, maybe if you take a screenshot of the page right now and then takes one at the end of the season, you can see some of these teams actually, in completely different positions. But what it could be is really on the EU side, which is what we're looking at the moment. This is the league leaderboard. So this is how many series they've won in the Pro League so far. So at the moment, Vermilion and Rank 55 Dragons are sitting on 2 wins each, with TCG and Orange Logo, your former EU World Tournament Series goers, sitting at 1 win and 1 loss apiece. And then more Guns N' Roses and Car Crash sitting at 1 apiece as well. And then Chaotic Contingency and Purple Noise unable to grab themselves a series as of yet. Still fairly early on in the Pro League as well, though. But that's maybe not where we would have seen teams top 4 at the very least at the moment. Because see, there's a clear division between, qualified teams potentially and the teams that pre-qualified it. But TCG and Orange Logo in, essentially 3rd, 2nd position as we see it at the moment, which is really interesting, especially since we probably thought they were going to be joint first or 1st and 2nd. But I think we've got a lot more series to play and actually see in the Pro League as well. But NA standings, we've got the Abjured, Spooky, and Apex Prime, man, undefeated at the moment.
And they deserve those spots too with the way they've been playing. Apex Prime got a little bit of a bye last week in the form of 0 Counterplay, but still deserving of that 2-0 record right there. Spooky has had to kind of work for it so far, but still, again, has been able to come out ahead every single week. And I mean, we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do it again next week against PZ, and that'll actually be that's going to be a tough one for them, because PZ is actually in a position right now where they're playing better than they ever have, and every single week they progress so steadily as a team. And I think that Spooky has something to worry about going into the next match. But Spooky's still deserving of that spot, at least for now. And of course, Abjurd in that first place, probably going to be staying there for a long time unless something kind of strange develops, and we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Final Form and Easy Peasy tied up right now. Final Form definitely deserving of that 4th place spot. I would still kind of, in my opinion, I would say that the top 3 are definitely where they would probably line up, and then PZ as a team that I would put in contention for that 3rd, 4th, and sometimes even that 2nd place slot.
Okay. Awesome. Well, what we're going to do now is we haven't got a massive amount of time, but we're going to do the rest of the show with the guys, because I think it might be nice for them to talk about the preview games as well coming up, and we might as well chuck that into the mix as well. So hopefully, Heurix, if you want to give them a poke on TeamSpeak, they're not going to be like in some odd position. I'm going to make sure this happens. I'm not saying that's going to be very awkward. I'm just going to bring them in now. And we have with us these guys. So here we go. We got Levin in. We'll
hey
just
guys.
drink. Here we go. We got Levin and Zeus in the house at the moment. Zeus coming from Team PZ, of course. His Twitter's below, and also Levin from Rank 55 Dragons. How are you guys? You guys all good?
Yeah, I'm fine, Jebro.
Good.
They're both very calm. They're both very excited. They've both got big smiles. But trust me, these guys have got, for some potential things to be pretty happy about. I mean, I just had a question. It's a really, really basic question for the both of you at the moment, really, to be honest. And you can all, I don't care who answers first, in all honesty. But just at the moment, your experience of being in the Pro League so far, how do you feel about Pro League? You're not obviously feeling badly about it, but how do you feel? You're excited? Where do you see yourselves maybe in your teams at the moment, coming towards the end of the first season as well, maybe?
You want to go first, Levin?
No, okay, I will go first.
You can do it.
Yeah, pretty exciting in the Pro League. Definitely the biggest tournament we've played so far, and everyone is pretty excited about every match. Yeah, it's pretty new experience for most of our players as well. For example, Misha and Menko haven't played any bigger tournaments at all so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we, like you already said it, Jebro, Lipio and Zananan and me were already at World Tournament Series with TCG, but yeah, Menko and Misha were still not at any live tournaments, so that's might be a totally new experience that should be coming up with season final if everything's going fine.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really exciting actually for those guys. I'm not completely forgotten, but age restrictions coming in mean that these guys can take part in that as well. So how are you feeling about everything, Zeus, as well then?
I mean, my teammates and I are just happy to be in Pro League. So I mean, I think it's really awesome. It's really cool. Just kind of blessed to be in Pro League. I'm excited to listen to Heurix talk about burying people every week, to be honest. I think it's hilarious.
I'll bring more shovels for you, man.
I do remember
yes,
that was extreme when Zeus was on mid Faux Fire. I was watching it, and suddenly, all of a sudden, Heurix just goes completely nuts, and I was like, man, this is good. This is good. We got some crazy hype on it in NA as well now. This is awesome. It's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, obviously Zeus, your team PZ took that game on Forest, which was pretty good. I mean, that position kind of changed everything for you guys really on that map. And maybe, leading up to slightly as well, some of the rotations that you guys had, and, some of those fights as well, some of the 1v1s, I can't remember who it was. I've written down some notes here, but they've flown away somewhere. But on that Forest map, what do you feel like you have to do to be able to win against a team maybe like the Abjurd on a Faux Fire or the Temple maps? Because there was quite a difference in the performance there, maybe. Is Forest your team's strongest map, would you say?
I'm not entirely sure what our team's strongest map is.
Fair enough.
Sometimes it's Forest, and then sometimes we just throw viciously on Forest. So, I think, to beat a team like Abjurd, so obviously they're a very good team, and they've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
Their playstyle is based on momentum, so, they try to just kill you, and then kill all of you guys, and then snowball. and then just push on to the rest of your points. And so you have to try to be able to match them in terms of skill, like mechanical skill in that aspect. But then you can't get too carried away trying to just, TDM them, because then you'll just actually play the point game and play Conquest, and then you'll lose that way too. And we've been playing against them a lot, and they've actually taught us a lot about kind of like trying to properly play the game for our team. And I think the best way to beat them would either to try to expose them through like, putting them on respawn by killing them a lot, or just playing a smarter Conquest game than them if you're going to play like a tankier composition. That's my opinion.
I think the tanky composition honestly kind of like aided to what you guys were doing in terms of like how you guys play together. Because if you look back at like on Forest, you got the map you guys actually took the map on that one. You guys did exactly what you're talking about. You put them on respawn a lot, and that actually is what kind of set you forward. And I think they still made some really strong rotations, but you guys, since they were on respawn almost the entire game with people dying, you had that huge 3K on Hinge. You had that really sick play on Keep where you got the 2K there and you were able to snowball off of that. I mean, those were the kind of things that actually helped you out. And then you really didn't kind of see the same thing happening on the other two maps, and that's where I think you guys kind of like fell short. And looking actually at Temple specifically, for both of you guys actually, you guys both, 55 and PZ kind of struggled getting control on Temple. How do you guys think that you guys could probably play better on Temple? Because that's a map that actually we haven't seen too much of in the competitive play. How do you guys think that you could probably play that better? Because both of you guys unfortunately had a little bit of a struggle on that one.
I think our main problem on Temple was that everything was pretty washed. Lipion was having problems with ESL wire, so we just got Texbian on last second, and he still had a 500 ping or something when he was playing. So I guess we would do better normally with, and everything was still disorganized. And we never played with Texby before. We were always scrimming and training with Lipion. And Temple is a pretty organized map. You got a lot of things to watch out for, especially when the buffs are coming.
How about that though, as well? Living brings up a brilliant point that they beat TCG with a sub as well.
That's true.
We didn't even mention that. I didn't even mention it's in my notes. And that in itself.
3-capped TCG on Legacy with a sub. I'm gonna bring that one.
Well, you really want to talk about
he's gonna keep going on about it. He loves it. Heurix, I bet when that happened, Heurix is just like, right, where's my salt shaker? I'm just gonna fill that up.
I'm just mining salt over here, man. I'm just mining salt. That's all I'm doing over here.
She's gone for industrial sized salt canisters, like bigger than my camera at the moment. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It was a really, really good series actually to watch as well, because I remember interviewing you, Levin, afterwards, and just you saying about almost that you couldn't believe what had happened on that midpoint on Fofire, and I'm still watching it, and I'm still, it must have been Condi pressure that was coming in from you guys on that point, which really sent everyone into downstate, because Texby went down first.
Yeah, I was talking with Frey about that as well.
Yeah.
After the games, and apparently Kaza died on an exit bomb from Zananan, and after that, Zan immediately did rocket charge when everyone tried racing, and I was Condi running around, stuff like that. Everyone was spamming Ares, and I suppose they were out of defensive cooldowns. Health probably didn't hit the evade well anymore, stuff like that. Revenant was down, so they didn't hit infuse light, and then they were just out of cooldowns, and they got lucky hit. I guess it just happens few times if you get lucky.
They couldn't recover from that, that's for sure.
Zeus, how would you feel about Temple, man? Because, again, this is the first time we've really seen it in the Pro League. We have to see this map again in the future, and I'm wondering how you guys thought, based on what you guys did with Absurd, a team that, has been at the top of the world, let alone the top of North America before. How can you kind of see yourself improving? What kind of things did you guys take away from that Temple map to kind of share with everybody that's watching here?
I think Temple is a really interesting map, and the important thing about Temple is when the buffs come up, you have potential to... It's a really big comeback map. So you could be losing from, 300 points or something like that, and the buffs come up, you win the buff fights, and you could potentially just snowball the rest of the game and win from there. But I think the most important thing on Temple is you have to assign the right people to the right places. And since our team is kind of new, like we didn't pre-qualify and we haven't played with each other as much, we're slowly kind of like we're kind of like our worst enemies, because I know you guys don't know the TeamSpeak and stuff, but we were in TeamSpeak and we like had this plan all planned out beforehand, and then we get into the game and we're all like too hype and stuff, and we're like, oh yeah, we forgot to do that plan that we talked about, and that's how it happens a lot. So we need to try to fix that. It's kind of funny though.
Yeah, but sometimes you've got to just adjust to the situation, right? And sometimes, you know, that plan isn't always the best plan, but maybe it's the one that you wish you had gone with. I don't know.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. I was wondering, we haven't got a massive amount of time because we're actually running out of time. So I don't know if there's anything you guys wanted to, you know, say or mention before maybe we ask your opinions on the preview, because I actually thought we might just ask your opinions on how maybe you think some of these series are going to go. Is there anything you wanted to say before that at all about your games last week at all, or this week? Sorry.
I think I talked enough about the game we had against
like,
TCG
yeah,
already.
it's fine. We're done with that. How about you, Zeus?
I'm just excited to potentially get buried or just bury people, because I just love hearing Heurix talk about it. I think all the teams are really good though, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I just enjoy playing against them. Like playing just like on stream and stuff, and just in the Pro League in general is just a really fun experience. So that's all I have to say
have
about
one question for you both, and it's about your matches next week. So I know 55 and Car Crash love each other a lot. I know Levin has a lot of respect for Car Crash, and he loves them very much. Come back, Levin. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm running away.
So I know you guys love each other, and like you guys are the best of friends. But you're looking at a match next week against your good friends here, Car Crash. And how do you think you guys are going to fare in that one? And we'll come back to you, Zeus, in a second.
About the friends thingy, well, I mean, Sam is in the team after all, and he was my old teammate in Made Emitter, if you remember that. He was playing guard, so we still have that relation going for us. But yeah, I think we're all feeling pretty confident that we're gonna win against Car Crash next Monday. But yeah, don't want to say too much about that.
Fair play. How about Zeus? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, you got actually a tough game, man, next week going up against Spooky, a team that's tied for first right now, man.
Yeah, it sounds pretty scary. Sounds pretty spooky.
Sounds pretty spooky. Wow, that's...
Yeah.
Whew, that was lame, man. That was lame.
I'm just following in your footsteps of your amazing puns, okay? I hear them. I think, I think Spooky are a good team, but we've been scrimming against them a lot as well too, and they've actually changed their team comp a lot. So I actually don't know what they're gonna play. So it'll be a lot of fun. I guess we'll see this week, and I hope we win so we can actually get on the board.
Yeah, you guys deserve to. We'll have to wait and see. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through the EU preview of week 3, of course. First of all, like we were talking about before. Levin, of course, being in rank 55 Dragons versus Car Crash. He's had a little word about that. But maybe, Levin, you could maybe talk about Vermilion versus Purple Knights. Now, Vermilion obviously being top of the table in the EU at the moment. Do you think this is going to be a pretty easy win for Vermilion versus Purple Knights?
Well, it depends. It's probably gonna be pretty easy if Purple Noise doesn't switch their comp up. Like last week, they were still playing Double Ali, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And
right.
Vermilion is probably playing lots of Revenants. So they probably have to switch that up a little bit.
So they haven't got a Revenant. I mean, Purple Noise, they're lacking damage, right? This is what we're saying.
And Revenant, Connie Rev is definitely a must-have lately.
Yeah, this is pretty strong. I mean, we were saying this though in the week 1 and maybe a little bit in the qualifier as well, that you might need a little bit more than sustain at the moment, and they're gonna have to try and change something out to get onto the board. It didn't work too badly versus More Guns Than Roses on Forest, where they came very close. They did play a different game. At least they rotated more effectively probably with the team comp that they had. But then we've got Orange Logo versus More Guns Than Roses as well. Orange Logo lost this week, so What do you reckon, Levin? Do you reckon more guns maybe than roses, they have a little bit of a chance as versus Orange Logo, or do you reckon it's...
Well, I think it's probably in Orange favor, but Orange has a lot of problems lately since apparently they're not playing with Tage anymore, and they switched them out for Forerunner or maybe Benz. Depends. They're definitely a lot weaker without Tage, but I think it should be still in their favor.
This is a very good point you make. You know, without Tage there being the core of the, big part of the team for so long, not being there anymore, it can really rock the boat a bit. But you proved that having a last minute sub, not always the worst thing. Obviously, Orange Logo didn't work out for as well as it did for you. But then we got TCG versus Chaotic Contingency. What do you reckon about this one?
Yeah, TCG is probably gonna win since Faro is apparently not longer playing for Chaotic Contingency, and
he is actually not playing for them anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think he's not playing for them anymore. And Faro's, at least in my opinion, the best player from Chaotic Contingency. So,
right.
Yeah, I guess TCG is probably gonna take that.
So we're probably looking for a little bit of a, there's going to be a 5th member search for Chaotic Contingency, and yeah, like you say, and going up against TCG as well themselves, that's obviously going to be hard enough. But maybe Heurix and Zeus can go through the NA side of us of preview as well, and just run through the games and.
Yeah, so actually before we do that, I want to quick touch actually on the point you just made that, they're going to be looking for a 5th. This is actually something that I think people don't realize. I think people think that Pro League is like very far and away out of everybody's reach, but honestly, if you're playing the game, if you're mechanically strong, if you know how to rotate, if you're figuring these things out, or if you're at least on your way, I think Pro League is actually kind of reachable. And we actually just saw the PvP leagues released, and as well as the Challenger League, of course, the guild teams and all that kind of stuff was just released on December 1st, and we've been seeing people like ranking up and all that. I know Zeus's teammate is already Diamond right now. He's already reached Diamond. I think that's world first, actually, to hit Diamond.
We need to DDoS this guy.
Yeah, we need to. What is he on? It's like 70 hours of no sleep or something like that. Just going absolutely just out of his mind right now or something.
Yeah, Java's actually a robot. We built him in our basement. He's not real.
Yeah, Java is absolutely insane. So, he... Diamond already. People have been going nuts, like doing this kind of stuff, and I think climbing the leaderboard and making yourself noticed and recognized and stuff by some of the top teams, it'll be a lot easier for you to get picked up. I know other guys that have been on other teams and have proven themselves have been picked up as subs. I know one of which was, I believe, Rationality picked up as a sub, and that's a sick player to have on your team as well. And things like that keep popping up, and I think people need to just get out there and play, because the PvP League and the Guild Challenger League is a great way for you to either get a team in or get yourself into the Pro League at some point or another. So without further ado, we'll look at the matches for next week for NA.
for sure. Like Heurix and the guys are saying, that's definitely a good way, and you can see all that information in the mist. And if you don't know what's going on at the moment, check the Guild Wars Teach channel out, and there was a show before this explaining what the PvP League is about, and we know that these two boys, at least Levin and Zeus, are looking forward to getting themselves that legendary backpack, because they have not stopped talking about it. So let's gonna go over to Heurix and Zeus for the Pro League Week 3 matchups.
All right, so we have the first match, which is honestly, in my opinion, going to be the half-featured match. And the reason I say that is because this is a match that actually does matter a lot, because Final Form versus the Abjured is a really important match. Despite the fact that Final Form did just lose to Spooky, this is a team that has in the past in scrims taken not just one, but several maps, I understand, against the Abjured. So they have the ability to take maps off of them. They have the composition to do it, because they have that double mesmer that the Abjured has kind of struggled with in terms of scrims and practice matches and queues and stuff like that. So Final Form does have a possibility to take them. Zeus, do you think they have a shot?
Yeah, I think they do have a chance to win. Again, teams in the Pro League have been changing their team comps like every week, so I don't even know what they're gonna run. So, or the Abjured. So it'll be interesting. But I think the Abjured will have the edge in that one. But Final Form do have a chance to win.
All right, and then the second match, and this one, in my opinion, is going to be the insane match of the week: PZ versus Spooky. This is one that I think PZ is feeling pretty confident about. You already said it yourself that you're feeling pretty good about it. Team's feeling pretty good about it, but you got to take into account Java and Kpud haven't slept in like 100 days at this point. So
You're right.
So I mean, they're gonna be napping. They're gonna be hibernating. There's no practice for the whole weekend, man. They're gonna be hibernating for the rest of the weekend to catch up, so they can be ready for this match. So you got to go up against Spooky in just a couple of days now, and this is a team that kind of knows what I think you guys are playing, and they're gonna be preparing and they're gonna be doing stuff over the weekend. I mean, I've already seen other players kind of picking other stuff up, and we've been seeing some adjustments. Like you say, teams change their stuff every single week and how they play, their composition. I mean, how are you feeling about this one? Are you feeling? Are you still feeling confident? Have I shaken your confidence a little bit?
I think you are the best at shaking my confidence. You always make me second guess myself. So.
Oh wow,
I mean, I hope
Heurix, what are you
hope
doing to
win.
people? You gotta be nicer, man. Jesus. This is Zeus
I
we're
hope we
talking
win.
about. Like, nicest guy Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, the boy, dude, the boy.
I am your boy, the boy.
All right,
I think
so
we'll have a chance. I think hopefully we'll do well. I'm excited to play against them because I'm excited to see what they're gonna play. So yeah.
okay, so the biggest question is, I mean, last week the biggest question for Spooky was the Thief and Cade being on the Thief. Of course, Cade is a very, very strong Thief, definitely in the running for one of the best Thieves in NA. Certainly in contention for, I mean, maybe even best Thief in A. You're talking about going up against Toker and stuff like that. But aside from those two guys, now that Amon's out, I can't think of any other Thief I would put in that discussion, at least right now. So it was kind of a wonder of, can Thief actually be viable in this sort of high tier play where you're going up against certain comps that probably take it out? And they went up against a pretty strong team last week, and Cade did very, very well. Are you guys kind of concerned about his Thief playstyle, or do you think that actually you guys will kind of flourish if they run that Thief? How do you feel about it?
Well, one thing is, Cade and I were on a team together for a long time, like years. So, I mean, I know how he plays. I know that he's good at Thief. But I think that we will definitely have something prepared, and we'll just see how it goes.
All right, man. Pretty default answer there. Was hoping for some salt, maybe a little BM there.
I don't know if you're going to see that from Zeus.
I don't think I'm going to.
I don't
either,
think
so.
Zeus and Levin are like the most chill dudes in Guild Wars 2 PvP. Like two of the most chill. Levin they did a little eye movement there in psychology. As far as I know,
Levin is passionate about Car Crash, but aside from that, I feel like he's a pretty centered dude. But moving on to match 3, though, because we do have some other interesting matches, and that's going to be Zero Counterplay versus Easy Peasy, and these are two teams that, I mean, Easy Peasy did win last week. Of course, it was against Never Lucky, who has struggled a lot in the past. Easy Peasy making a lot of adjustments to their composition, and they're actually going with this kind of what's been kind of taking over NA with this tanky Mesmer stuff, and then they have a lot of other options at their disposal. Typically, you're going to be seeing Edison and Edmonton on those classes that they typically play of Thief and Guardian. I think that is something that might prove to be somewhat of a worry for them moving forward because of their lack of lack of an ability to adapt to any composition and situation. But aside from that, they've been able to kind of move things around. Who do you think has the advantage in Zero Counterplay versus Easy Peasy, man?
I think that match is actually going to be really close as well. But I think that Easy Peasy will probably take that 2-1. And the map that Zero Counterplay will probably win will probably be the second one, which I think it's Temple, right? What's the map rotation for this week? I think it's Kylo Temple something.
That sounds about right. About right.
I'm not sure about something. It's definitely a new map in Guild Wars 2.
Right.
I mean, it depends what you. It
Yeah.
depends what you call. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Zero Counterplay will win the second map, and then Easy Peasy will take it 2-1.
Interesting. You think they're going to take it? So, the thing that I'm kind of curious about with Zero Counterplay is they still are running that double Mesmer, double Tempest, which, I mean, has a lot of sustain, but they've been kind of struggling with actually getting a lot of damage out with that with that kind of composition. If they do wind up sticking with that, do you think that I mean, knowing that Easy Peasy is going to be playing Bunker Mesmers, do you think that they're going to get, I mean, any headway in terms of kills? Because if they're running Bunker Mesmers, you know as well as I do, it's pretty hard to take kills if you're sitting there running double Tempest, double Mesmer, and not able to actually do much damage, especially when it's conditioned. So.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, the only reason I said that was because so Zero's counterplay is like trying to play like a really tanky composition, but then Easy Peasy usually plays like triple DPS,
Right.
and so when you try to play that, like if you at any point in time lose or like die on a point, you just get snowballed on as the other composition, and
Right.
like Easy Peasy are really good at killing one person per point, and so they can just kill one person per point and keep going from there. But if they just get 2 caps, then it's gonna be really hard for them to try to like get the caps back, because it might take too long. So I mean, it's interesting, but that's why I said that Zero counterplay will probably win Temple, because they'll have like one tanky person on each node and the buffs when they come up, and it's gonna be really hard for them to kill them 1v1. But I think if they outnumber them like 3v1 and 2v1 and stuff, they'll be able to kill them.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, like, Edison is one of those guys that, I mean, he's refused to play Daredevil at this point. I mean, I think that he's just playing the old school DP thief that everyone can remember with the Shadow Arts, and he's done quite well for himself, definitely in the runnings for, again, one of the top thieves in NA, but it's actually odd to think that we have 3 thieves in the Pro League right now that are actually doing quite well for themselves, but, I mean, if they rotate him into those fights and kind of outnumber, I mean, the thing is that if Zero Counterplay plays that kind of everyone, everywhere kind of thing and strings himself out, I think that Easy Peasy actually could take Temple off of them just by having Edison rotating around and then just overpowering them everywhere and just snowballing, like you said. But I guess we will agree to disagree on that one. And match 4 will be Never Lucky versus Apex Prime. I will say that I am pretty sure that Apex will win this one. Last week they went up against Zero Counterplay. They kind of, I mean, Zero Counterplay still did well. They were able to get close to 300 in the first map, got close to 400 in the second one. I think it was like 280 and then 370 were the 2 scores for their side of things. But Apex still winning that. They have to go against Never Lucky, who are still, once again, trying to find their stride. I think this coming week, they'll finally have their full roster ready to go as per the composition they want to run. They had a little bit of a struggle last week and had to use a sub. But despite that, they're probably going to be looking to come back and actually make a name for themselves right now. Do you think that Apex might have its first loss of the season coming up against Never Lucky, a team that hasn't even won yet?
I think Apex will probably take this one. This one is probably going to be one of the more lopsided matchups. I think Never Lucky's name fits them because they were really unlucky at the start of the season, and they lost one of their members, and
Lost
then
2.
yeah, they lost 2. They lost 2 of their members, and then they just had to play with a brand new roster. And I think a lot of their strength was like, I mean, they're good players, but I think a lot of their strength came from playing together a lot, and not necessarily like individual, just, you know, making a super team kind of thing. They just were just a solid team in general.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, they dropped, or unfortunately, Karina had to drop out of the Pro League, so they're missing him. And then, of course, Amon being swapped out for Physics, Amon having to go and take care of some business as well, and or with whatever he had to do. I mean, but Physics then came in. Physics had to drop out as well. So they technically lost 3 people, but they were only missing 2 people on their roster. But of course, that had to be filled last minute. They got a guy, Fayov, who's playing Revenant for them, doing okay right now, but of course no one ever heard of him, no one's ever seen him, and rightfully so, because the guy isn't even rank 80 in PvP right now, but has been able to kind of adapt quickly. He's been in other parts of the game at a top level, so it's kind of expected that he's going to be able to kind of learn things quickly, but still not a lot of experience on that team, not a lot of cohesion, not a lot of that there at all, so they're going to have to work to come back. And you said it's not going to be that match is going to be kind of lopsided, and I unfortunately for Never Lucky have to kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be that'll be the end of NA though. So I mean, we have a couple of good matches for sure. At least, I mean, the first 3 matches will be insane in my opinion. Final Forum versus the Absurd. We might see the Absurd be a little bit lopsided there, but Final Forum is in a position where they can actually do well. And of course, PZ and Spooky, that match will be insane. Zero counterplay versus Easy Peasy could definitely be another match with a lot of contention there as well. So definitely some good matches looking forward.
Awesome stuff. So, fine, I just wanted to ask Levin a little question. Since we talked about NA for a little bit of time, how do you feel about NA 11? How do you feel about the teams there at the moment? And if you go to the finals, because at the moment, you know, you're in pretty good shape to get there. How do you feel about going up against the NA teams and, you know, the scene maybe over there at the moment? You know, it's not just all about the Abjured now, actually.
Yeah, well, there's still a lot of teams playing Thief, so EU doesn't seem too good of Thieves anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, it's I mean, I was a main Thief and I switched to Revenant myself, and I feel the main problem as a Thief now is that you can't really kill anything anymore. You just don't have any good targets. Normally you would focus stuff like other Thieves, Mesmers, or Necros. But now you're up against Mesmers, sometimes even Dragon Hunters, but not that often. Then you're up against Revenants, Scrippers, and they're all even more tanky than they ever used to be. Feels like your DPS isn't all that great anymore. And Revenants can chase you all the time now. And whenever you are in an equal fight with a Revenant, that's normally not in your advantage. So yeah, I would say we're feeling rather confident right now if we would have to play against the top 2 and 8 teams. But yeah, there's still a lot of time till season final would actually come. So things might change. Maybe you realizes that Thief is not that bad after all, or maybe it's the other way around. Who knows?
Well, I mean, Zeus has gone over to Dragon Hunter, you know, and Dragon Hunter was... we've not got any Dragon Hunters really on EU anymore. We saw it, you know, it was kind of gimmicky for a while. It's very... you need it for good... In situations like versus the Abjured, the way Zeus played it, obviously, was, you know, was really, really good. And that's the way it helped, you know, picking off people from the side was, like Heurix was said, called it that assassin kind of class, which was really good, especially on that map on the mid at Keep. Like, we're going to remember that for a while, as well as, you know, 55 play this week. So it is interesting to see that it might be nice to bring in something for specific comps or specific situations and maps, you know, where a Shadow Refuge might be useful. Or
Deuce also figured out just how bad Dragon Hunter can also be in the next map of Legacy when he got shut down by Tempests and Revs all day.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's tough. I mean, like you said, I mean, you know, maybe in this situation in the future, like, he would switch out from that to, say, back to Ellie or whatever, you know, maybe. But on that map, like, it was good for ports, like, getting up to mid, up to Keep, like, porting is so good, so strong. Like, Kylo, actually, you know, DH might have been pretty good on there if we had that in the rotation on that side. But Legacy can be very hard because of the distance and, you know, the speed. Dragon Hunter is so slow. It's like, you really feel it when you're walking, like, so you're relying really on your team to be able to sustain, and, you know, to a good degree that's what happened on Forest. But we've been talking for about an hour, guys. Our time has come. Our time is up. And I want to thank Zeus and also Levin for joining us today, being very patient as well, because they've been on Skype hanging out with us for about 2 hours now. So I do apologise that you've been having to listen to me and Heurix spout on throughout the evening, but it's not been too bad. So I want to say thank you to you guys. Make sure you go and follow Zeus on Twitter as well. When Levin's got Twitter, we'll promote that at some time in the future.
Get on Twitter, man. Come on.
I'm trying to make it do it.
Levin.
Yeah, I might do it for the next time.
Yeah, do it. We'll see. We'll definitely be hearing from these guys in the future. But otherwise, if there isn't anything else left to say from Zeus and Levin, I don't know if you want to say anything about the future or if you want to say goodbye in some kind of
Any shout outs to your mom, anything like that?
Not really.
Oh, of course. Oh, I do have something to say. If ArenaNet is watching this, they made a thread on the forums about how the Abjured and PZ, at least on NA, are flooding the leaderboards for the Guild Challenger, and we feel really bad. And we hope that you guys please reset our MMR so we don't have to wait an hour in queue. God bless.
Oh you could also introduce
Just
solo
reset
queue and
everybody.
You
team
know
queue.
what?
That would
While
be
you're
nice
at
too.
it, though, can we just get a blank sheet for everyone? Because I'm tired of my 20-minute queues, and those are bad enough.
All right.
But you know
That's a
what?
different show, guys. That's a different show. This is a different show.
You know what the problem is? We're too good. Guys, we're too good. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. Just too skilled at this game, and that's what it really is. But honestly, it's really not that bad. I queued with you, Zeus, and we got 2-minute pops instantly, dude. It's fine. It's
Is that
fine.
because together you're
my
really
MMR
bad,
is
or is it?
terrible. That's it.
That's true, man.
Okay, otherwise, I've been Jebro, it's been Heurix, Zeus, and Levin. Thank you again for joining us on the show today. And we'll see you again next week. And don't forget to tune in for, of course, the Pro League, which is next week at 6 p.m. GMT for the UK. EU, rest of EU is going to be 7 p.m. CET. That's going to be 10 a.m. PT. Wow. Heurix, I'm on it with the flipping region, remembering. What time's NA on all the regions, do you know?
5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST, and then I don't know EU times at all. 6 hours after that for if you're in like Germany or whatever.
Oh, that was actually right. So good stuff.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see all the information. Make sure you go and follow Twitter for Guild Wars 2. Everything down below. If you want some more information about Pro League and the ESL site as well, go and check out all the stuff and all the things. We'll see you very soon for